the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, and thank you for sitting inside in a windowless room on such a beautiful night. But we've got some good stuff on our agenda. First thing is the approval of the minutes from our previous meeting. I'm assuming everybody had a chance to read them. Are there any changes or questions, comments? Anybody care to make a motion to accept the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes from last time.
Thank you, Jennifer. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Lloyd. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are passed unanimously. Second is public comment. And once again, we are doing things a little differently. And so I'm going to read this every time to get it documented so people are aware of how we are doing our public comment. At this time, the board will allow 15 minutes for comment on public matters that are not on the main agenda. Members of the audience are encouraged to briefly address the trustees on an issue that is not on the agenda. The chairman of the board will seek comments from the audience on significant items as they occur. Public matters do not include any pending legal matters, private personnel issues, or private student issues. Please do not attempt to address such issues at this time, or you will be ruled out of order. Please note that individuals will be given 3 minutes for public comment, and time may be shortened to accommodate numerous speakers. Public comment will also be allowed near the conclusion of the meeting for those wishing to give public comment, but were unable to do so at the beginning of the meeting. Is there any public comment? Lynn?
I have a question. Was the person meeting announced to KPS?
They should all have been sent out to you, do you mean, or to the?
We usually get a blanket. We get the agenda. So I have one for the 13th, but the agenda wasn't this meeting.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Well, they're all available publicly on the website. Everything's noticed on the website for sure, and in the paper.
There?
What's that? Yeah.
It's already there?
Yeah, it has to be 48 hours in advance.
I will look there. Thank you.
Yeah.
We usually post it Friday by 5 o'clock.
Okay, first up, personnel action items.
And that one is me, and this is our routine approval of hires, resignations, terminations for a variety of positions. You can see most of our positions are in the classified realm, and then also extra duty assignment and stipends.
So I move that we accept the action items as presented.
Okay, been moved. I know you have a question. We'll get to that. Okay.
No, I was going to make the same motion.
Oh, okay.
So I can second it.
Do you want to second it? Okay. It's been moved and seconded that we accept the personnel action items. Any other discussion? Any public comment? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Thank you. Next up, Edgerton Elementary boiler replacement. Greg, I'm assuming you're presenting this one.
I am. So
We put this out as an RFP, we got four bids to replace the current boiler that is, we have a gas-fired and an electric boiler at, Edgerton, which is high, so we're gonna go with 2.5 million BTU. The low bid was 120,800. And very confident in, having conversations with the contractor, which is Northwest. And what we're gonna do a little bit of adjustment on where we're gonna locate the boilers. And, we'll do a bunch of the, demo and a little bit of piping and stuff in-house because we're gonna move some gas lines. Vent stack, we'll put in a different vent stack. Currently, there's one that's 2 stories high that runs up the elevator shaft. We're gonna eliminate and move to a different area. And as you know, some of you guys probably that are new don't know, we just updated the environmental control systems in there from with ATS. So we all in thermostat, software's coming and all that stuff. So currently, we can't even see the building itself, so we can't visual room. Yeah, now, at the time we couldn't, so we updated that, and this will be like the final stage for the heating. Strictly heating, just like.
Think we'd be able to do that before winter time?
Yeah, so, that was a critical question I asked, Dan, who's the guy that's running the show over there, he's like, I'm like, boilers, 10 days out. And I think they probably already secured the boilers. Point that if we wouldn't take them, they could probably put them in the.
What is the, sorry, you said, with the BTUs or the new ones, what's the difference between that and the old one?
About 750,000 BTUs. Yeah. So there's a standalone unit in there right now. It's an old, I want to say Resnor, that's. So, yeah. And then we also have a backup. So the original boiler for that school was an electric boiler, which is, to give you an idea, it's like this big. Literally, it's that big. And then there's a gas-fired, but those two, it doesn't matter what the temperature is outside, if we're called for heat, they're both running it.
Or backup for the new one?
Yeah, we're gonna keep the electric for right now. That's the most efficient for us right now.
This is a demo, it's excluded, you're gonna do that.
Yeah, so the demo on that would be like the existing boiler and stuff. I don't need to
It's
pay.
another lot of like,
Yeah, I don't need to pay somebody to do that, we'll take it.
all the stuff that you're gonna do, you can do while.
Yes and no. So some of that will have to be done on the weekend. We've already kind of talked about that there, but disruption of the classes is very minimal at all. And, talking with Jen, you know, one of the most accommodating. That, you know, we won't be in there.
Any other questions for Greg? Comments?
Are we going big enough? You know, Edgerton is one of our larger schools. Are we going big enough for the foreseeable future? Because, yeah, more people coming.
Yeah, so we're planning ahead of it. I mean, that is definitely oversized. I'm not saying if you add another 15 classrooms to it, that will be okay. We may have to add it, but what'll happen is you just add another boiler. You don't have to do anything else to it. You just add it. You're not reinventing the wheel there. You're not. Add a little piping, add a little, and that's it. Right now, the way it stands, we're going to just completely, we're gonna leave everything in place and move away from it. Eliminate what we have.
Any other questions? Anybody ready to make a motion?
As elementary trustee, I move to approve the bid to replace.
Thank you, Lance. Is there a second from an elementary trustee? Thank you, Jennifer. It's been moved and seconded. Any other comments or questions? Elementary trustees, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Next up is our consent agenda. First one is elementary only. And are you presenting this, or are we just zipping through it?
Matt? Thank you. Matt's gonna present it. We grew straws. We lost.
All right, a little bit of this is cleanup from last meeting. We have, first one would be the elementary tuition billing.
No, the ones that were excluded were the, out-of-district students attending KPS, K5. They were on the consent agenda under the high school and weren't on the elementary, so we had to.
These are the students that were approved last time with the language of school requesting, it should be parent requesting. Just take care of that list. There's one student in middle school.
Questions from anybody? Thank you, Lance. Is there a second from an elementary trustee? Thank you, Rebecca. Any further questions? All elementary trustees, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Move to the district-wide. Matt, are you handling this one too?
We sure could. One student attending out of county.
Yeah, just enough one.
And the warrants.
We just have the one student in the warrant.
Move approval of the district-wide consent agenda.
Thank you, Jack. Is there a second? Thank you, Lloyd. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Next up, our Safe Return to Schools and Continuity of Service Plan. Anything?
Or the informative items and reports.
Oh, sorry, I did skip something. Trustee reports. So let's go backwards this time. Diane?
I don't have anything to report.
That.
Yep.
Same here.
Becca?
Gosh, I feel obnoxious every time I say, I got to maybe 10% of the FHS homecoming celebrations, and they were all truly fun. It looked like the students were having a good time. But it did get me thinking that if 10% was completely overwhelming to me, that, you know, just all hail to the administrators who are going to all of them, because it was so much. And it did almost makes me wonder, are we doing too much? Because I saw, you know, some of the parades with some of the floats only had 5 or 6 students, and I was just like, are we asking too much of our administrators and students? But it was a lot of fun.
Lloyd?
I went to the Whitefish, Invitational today, where Flathead and Glacier were competing, and as well as some of the middle schools, and I wasn't there for that portion because I had to get here. But, they all did a great job, running cross country there at the golf course, and, I also kind of, whenever I meet a student from Flathead or Glacier or Linderman, out in public, I ask them what their favorite thing is about the school and their least favorite thing. And, I ran into one this last week, and she said their favorite thing about Flathead High School was that her, the teachers, specifically her art teacher, I think it's Mr. Morris. Oh, exactly. And then, her least favorite thing was she said she's always cold here, it's always cold in school. Anyway, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Lloyd. Lance?
No report.
Jennifer?
I would say I went and met with Bill Sullivan, my school liaison from the Russell person. So I went and met with Bill and talked to him a little bit, and let him know that I was happy to help with whatever they needed. I'm also on the parent group there, so that was a nice little segue. We're doing great things at Russell. We have, birthday books. We just started it again today. We started it last year, or actually, we started it pre-COVID, and then we couldn't get into the schools, but instead of giving the kids a treat, we have a bunch of books. And so we go around once a month and give each kid a book for the birthday. They can pick it out. So that just started again at Russell, so, that's exciting. We're doing a movie night with the kids, just, as a fall thing, so that's really great. And then I just wanted to say too, I'm also part of the Montana Association for the Education of Young Children, and we have our big conference this year, and we worked it out, so we're doing it in Helena, where all of the school participants are going as well, and they're more than welcome to come to our conference, which is, but they'll be like kids, you know, we were looking at those like early, like up to 3rd grade, but if kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade teachers want to come to ours, I have information, I'll get it to you, and I brought the, schedule, so you could kind of see what classes were on there, and I would say you guys are also like invited if you'd like board members.
Thank you, Jennifer. I just have a couple of things. I know I sent out an email to all of you reminding you that MCEL is coming up in October, Montana Council for Educational Leadership, and they have a remote version of it. So even if you don't want to travel to Missoula, and I know Micah, myself, and Denise are going in person, but if you want to attend remotely, talk to Denise. It's usually got some really good stuff at the conference, so I encourage people to attend that. One other thing I wanted to bring up is, I know there's been a lot of questions about how things get on the agenda, and if you have some issue you would like to see discussed by the board, talk to me. Usually we start at the committee level, you know, but there's a lot of things that are coming up there on our radar that will require some discussion. So don't be afraid to bring something up. A lot of you, especially when you get out to the various schools, you know, hear things that may not be on my radar or Micah's radar, so bring them up. I can't guarantee we'll put them on the agenda right away, but usually we start with, you know, committees. I just wanted to remind everybody of that. Okay. So thank you for those of you who are getting out to the schools. I appreciate it.
One question. I was really excited about the college course, and how that it was canceled. Will it be
We were just talking, Micah and I were just talking about this, and MTSBA will also come up and put on a personalized class. If there is interest, I'm assuming because you were asking about it, you were interested. I know School District 5 had the most people enrolled in the class.
Might have been the only.
Yeah, so, that's what we're thinking, is we may just have a specialized or individualized class. I know I've been to a lot of them that MTSBA puts on, and they're quite good. Thank you for asking.
Does MTSBA still have those available virtually, or is there, I know that 2 years ago they, because I took it, but I don't know if they still do that, or.
They do. They have the leadership one that is remote, and I did put all the new trustees' names on that list, because you do have to register for it to have access to it remotely. But they're better in person.
No, I'm not saying having a person, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a possible work study thing to do it there, or would it be a separate class outside of this?
We could, but our work study's pretty full, so what I was thinking is scheduling it on one of the Wednesdays that the original class was scheduled for. So I haven't even erased it from my calendar yet. But yeah, anybody would be welcome to take that. I learn something every time I take those classes. Oh, Jack.
Jennifer, just to follow up, this would have been the 4th year of putting that on, and there were many of the same participants in each of the first 3 years, so I don't think that, I don't know if I want to say people got burned out on it, but it was getting very repetitive, so it's probably something that they should put on every 2 or 3 years, and it could be supplemented with something from MTSB. Because it really talks, but it also talks about boardsmanship in general, even though it may be tailored to school districts. It's really applicable to any kind of boardsmanship role that somebody takes on. So whether it's MTSB or some other generic one, just understanding the boardsmanship aspect of trustees, which is policy and direction and how to provide the tools for administration to pursue those goals that we set up. Yeah, I think it's probably, it got saturated after 3 years.
Can I make it?
Yeah.
And just, Matt was scheduled to present, for one of the sessions, and he would gladly do that again. His calendar is free, he's not even getting a wage, but not having to do that, but.
If you enjoyed the last curriculum meeting, you'll be a lot about that. So I would talk, well, just spoke about 4 hours.
Okay, administrative,
Well, no, one more.
yeah.
When you look at who some of the presenters were, which would have been our own district administration and others, in the past, we've had Finance 101, or we've had different things, so it might be, and even though our workshops are full, it might be that half an hour prior to one of these meetings, if there was a certain topic that needed to be covered, whether it was finance or some of the just some topic that came up. I'm sure that we could make some kind of accommodation to spend that 20 minutes prior to a meeting to go over something like that. As a way, as mini boardsmanship, it's really more tailored to what we have going on here. So if any of you have any topics that you think might need to be discussed, I might be speaking out of line, and Sue can tell me. But
I would.
But it is something we've done in the past as far as many topics.
Good thought, Jack.
Thank you, Sue.
Administrative reports. Denise?
I don't have anything for you tonight.
Okay. Pete?
Just been, talking with, just the activities directors on GoFan, just because of that big changeover of, going basically electronically to everything, and, just some of the feedback that we have been, receiving, hey, I can't pay cash, or I can't get into the game, so I just wanted to do a follow-up with them, and, just talking with Bryce and with Mark, they still are accepting cash, so like at the football games, if they go to the northeast side, they accept cash there, but they're not gonna turn anyone away. I think when they talked to you guys earlier that, hey, this is gonna be a process, we'd like to get everybody there with GoFan, but they also realize not everybody has that technology and that, capability, but, they said for the most part, it's been real successful. Mark gave me an example of the Sentinel game. It's one of their biggest gates besides, Crosstown. He said, normally we have people just kind of wrapped around the block. He said it was only 20 deep, when they were coming to the game. And, they were actually hoping, through this is to eliminate it. But, they won't turn anybody away if somebody doesn't have a ticket and they're not taking cash. They just say, hey, take us, we'll catch you next time. They'll let them in and work through that with them. So, I also attended the play at Glacier High School, and I was able to get on GoFan. It was pretty easy to get on there. I guess I'm just used to using all of the apps and the different things, but they were taking cash there that in order to let people in, because they realized, a lot of the people that come there might be a little bit older, might not have that. Sorry, Jack. They might not have that technology. So
You're not sorry.
I just thought of it when I looked up. So they are doing some workarounds for that. So it's not, hey, we're only accepting GoFan. If you don't have the app, sorry, you're not getting in. They also said, there's some issues with middle school. A lot of middle school students don't have phones. So, they're working through it. They hope that everybody gets there, but right now, hey, they're not turning anybody away. I think it was just important that you guys know that. Any questions on that? Then the other thing that I have one question. Oh, okay. Very quick enough, sorry.
Is there any chance, look, I know my wife and I tried to go to a football game one day, when the first time they used that GoFan, and it was miserable trying to get in the doors. And it's been a couple weeks, and then, she went to a soccer game, and it took her 20, 30 minutes to get in, missed a lot of the game. Is there any chance that we can add, some extra booths or extra tellers that are working with it until we get it ironed out, so people aren't missing a quarter of a game?
Well, I mean, I would say, hey, we could look into that, but just to be honest, we can't find workers as it is, and this, this cuts back on a lot, because in the past, they used to have two people in the booth anytime you were taking cash, and they used to have to count it at the end, somebody had to watch it, somebody had to sign off, then it would go to the office manager. So I guess the best piece of advice is, hey, try to get the, I know, there are growing pains with this, and we'll work through them. We're not gonna turn anybody away. We'll try to do our best to get them in. It's important to us. The other thing is I had an opportunity to, watch the Brave mentoring, take place today with, the upper level Flathead High School kids working with the younger freshmen. It was just absolutely amazing. They were working with them in groups. They had lessons. The students created their own video, played the video. It was about friendship. So they're doing a lot of things. They'll continue to do that throughout the semester. And then, I think that you heard last time from the gal that presented, hey, those relationships continue, with those students. Hey, I was a junior last year. I was a mentor. It continues. That person she was with is a sophomore now, she's a senior, and so they develop great relationships. So I think it's a great program, and both Flathead High School and Glacier High School are doing that, and our students really taking some buy-in to it. So that's it, Sue.
Great. Thanks, Pete. Matt?
Two quick ones. First, thanks for approving the K-8 Community Involvement Coordinator. I'm super excited about that position. We hired Chow Young, as you saw on the agenda today. She will start next Monday. We've had big hopes and dreams for that position, and pretty excited about it. We had one representative from each of the elementary schools participate in the interviews. Get excited about it. We had great candidates. It's hard to make a decision, but I'm really excited about Chow. And then the second one, we've been working through some budgets, some title budgets. Just want to give a shout out to Denise for just her collaborative approach. Take a lot to dig through and untangle all the different budgets
internal, budgeting processes here, and he's doing a great job, but also just has a great approach and a collaborative approach. And then, hate to admit, but Pete's just an incredibly hard worker, and he's been working on the OPI side and navigating all that stuff, so it's just been appreciated and good team process.
Thank you, Matt. Micah?
Just a few things. The secure education consultants have been in the district the last couple of days, auditing our security practices and protocols and buildings. Met with a gentleman named Dwayne today, specifically about the district office and what we're doing there for security. I said we make sure that the buildings are taken care of first, where the kids are. But anyway, they said, just cursory, things look really good for our district and the plans that we have in place, so that's good. We'll be excited to see the final result of that audit. It may be the type of thing that to share it with the trustees, we would go into executive session where we discuss that. So that's going on. Last week I had the opportunity to attend the MASS conference, so that's the Montana Association of School Superintendents. Had some really great sectionals, some professional development, a lot of collegial connections. We had representatives from the National Superintendents Association do a presentation, also the National Special Education Administration organization. Had legal update from Kalispell, MTSBA did a presentation on superintendent and board relations, which was great. And so just lots of things going on in the district, still a lot of positive energy.
So the last presentation you just spoke about, is that something you should share with us 20 minutes before one of our next board meetings?
I think Deborah would love to share that presentation.
But you were
Hers was 2 hours.
Oh, well.
But it was good.
We want the shortened version.
Yeah, I think we can get a condensed version of it. Yep. So, and then just a reminder, for those trustees that are on the insurance committee, our next meeting is October 6th, which is Thursday, so that's Jack and Ursula and Diane, I think.
Yeah.
And if you wanna, see if someone wants to take on that committee role.
Sure. Always looking for new people. Thank you, Micah.
Yep.
Okay, now, safe return to schools and continuity of service plan.
So we go, green light, schools are open.
And just so you know, this is something we're required to have on our agenda each time. And next is our work study topic, the Kalispell Education Foundation, and we have Dorothy Drury here, the executive director for that foundation, and also a School District 5 graduate. So, thank you for being here, Dorothy.
2002. Oh, you know how old I am. I didn't ask.
26 minutes, no. Seriously,
26 minutes?
you have whatever time.
Oh, okay, wonderful. And who shall I direct?
Matt.
Matt? So I was recently reminded that, if you're really sick of hearing your message, then it's finally getting through to other people. And since half of you have heard me say this all the time, it's a little different, has more information. Like you're looking at me, but not looking at me, it's, really speaking to you all. I am Dorothy. I'm the part-time executive director for the Kalispell Education Foundation. That's all right, it's all right. So for those of you who need a reminder or, our mission is pretty simple, to, enrich and support that primarily through,
You have to keep watching.
our Great Opportunity Grant program. And so every fall, coming up, our application Every fall, all school districts 5 educators, $1,000 innovative class. The grant criteria, really, I guess, overall, we're looking for things that wouldn't be possible within the normal school budget. So we're looking for grants that are, perhaps a new teaching method, or a new tool that just couldn't possibly. We're looking for programs that are sustainable. So we certainly, will occasionally support something that's really, really cool, that's just gonna impact that classroom that year. But we prefer to look for opportunities where we can put tools or equipment, ideas into a classroom, that will last. We also love to see collaboration between our classrooms. We often will get, grants that are simply, but we love to see the grants that also, might be, teachers within the same, all the second grade teachers at Edgerton. We occasionally see, a cross between students. So, last year we had a middle school science teacher and English teacher. And then a few years ago, this is the only one that I can really think of, but we had a collaboration within all the elementary schools, and all of the elementary music teachers classroom set in ukulele to support the music curriculum. They didn't have an option, or a stringed instrument for the string curriculum, and so that classroom set was all the schools throughout the. It was really made real to me today when my second grader, who was at Edgerton, and I also teach piano. Your second graders say, "Oh boy, we don't share that." But I heard this from a couple of students when you ask why they don't love music class this early on, because they don't always get to have their hands. And I don't, there's a lot of other things that happen that are actually having your hands on this. So it was really cool to be able to supply something that works. Resonates with me, but that also will impact every single kid who goes through the price. And of course, we are looking to promote academic excellence. There we go. Thanks, Matt. That might be like directly through a tool like ukulele, a physical, or it might be through just supporting a healthy, happy. So what we support through these grants is really very and the broad range. So we've been around, actually giving out grants since 2009. We have given out, $146,000 to 111 grants. And this number is really cool, but it also, when I look at other organizations, that number often is in the millions, in this. So I feel like we have some goals that we are that number up quite a bit. And I'm happy to say that in the last couple of years, thanks in part to, and mostly due to our community, we have been able to support a larger number of grants. So, for example, last year, we were able to produce almost $27,000 to this, to 19 grants, which supported 25 educators. And this, in turn, impacted over 20 students, which again, when I think of that number, which is a very exciting number, it was the most we've ever been able to, community really did. And as we look to this year, I'm really hoping we can. And so we're doing that, through a couple of different things. First of all, our mini grant program. This is new this year. We sent out a survey to all, Kalispell public school teachers, and, we got their feedback. Wondering how we could provide. And it really felt like there wasn't any one thing that they were asking us to support in the elementary schools. Kind of how we came up with, and I think like so many different school districts and education have this kind of grant program, is because we can think of all these awesome things. The reality is our teachers know what they need in their classroom. And while our great opportunity grants offer up to $2,000, I noticed that there weren't a lot of applicants under 500, because the application process is a small thing. It does take some time, and certainly requires quite a bit of a report at the end, follow-up, which is valid and important. But we thought perhaps we'll try offering a smaller, more condensed version of our application, and a smaller amount, but seeing if that perhaps could pass. So we decided to offer 2 different sessions, one in August and one in January. We're terribly optimistic that launching a new program in the summer would be overwhelmed, which was great. I don't remember exactly at the moment. I think we received about. So I think we were able to offer 19, or support 19. So we really feel that hopefully we have met, if we asked what the need was, and we hope for this program. So between that program and offering a minimum of $25,000, just through our great opportunity grant. For staff and and certainly this number is available in large part because of community challenge. Before I do, I also wanted to let you know that we are supporting an education. So one educator each at the elementary, middle, and high school will receive this award. They'll be nominated by students and parents, and we are hoping to put together a selection committee. The nomination process, and we're following a model that the Missoula Education. And one of the concerns that I heard when I suggested we might be doing this was that, oh, this is just going to be a charity contest, we're not really going to be excited about it, this is going to be another thing. But in talking to the executive director there and the educators in the Missoula Public Schools, a person who is one, they say that this is actually a really big deal, and that it's a great way to honor the popularity contest question. Thrilled that the student board has never once, well, not thrilled, maybe just impressed, relieved, that the student board has never once awarded the most nominations. Really look for those nominations, look, but I'm optimistic that this. Additionally, this is going to be supported by, and each recipient gets a $1,000 check for their classroom, $250 gift certificate. and a commemorative award. They also are, planning on awareness with our community, primarily radio ads, which I think this is just, honor the amazing work that in the classrooms that may not always be the thing. They've also talked about, a what?
A billboard!
There we go. A billboard of all the recipient faces, which has, I've received mixed reviews. On how anyone really feels about that.
Not for Pete.
No.
There you go.
But again, I think this is going to be a great way, to honor our, we're very excited about this program. All right. So I'm so excited about, the Great Fish Community Challenge this year. We raised almost $38,000. Really awesome, especially since last year we raised about 23. So a significant increase from last year. Things can be attributed to a couple of things. Less than Whitefish Dog Park, which I recently learned is one of the best. Has been lauded as one of the best dog parks. Someone said that, and I find that hard to believe, but someone said that. I feel inclined to believe them because that would happen. That's, a worthwhile cause. That's great. I'm very happy for them. That's probably the majority of their funding. However, I would argue that, dollars spent so valuable. So I look forward to thinking about that next year. Anyway, we also received $1,500 in bonus grants, which was great. We will also receive a match percentage, which is one of the things about the Great Fish Community Challenge that takes longer to explain. The Whitefish Community Foundation raises money. And they announced that in October. We'll learn that at that point. But last year that was between $11,000 and $12,000. School board participation. I'm not going to say what last year's was because it doesn't matter.
Thank you, Dorothy.
And I'm not going to flatter myself that it was anything other than Sue repeatedly asking you to support us. But I really, really, really do appreciate your support. I feel like we have such a strong start to the this event lasts for 6 months. And due to our efforts, nail the most donations received, not most amount, number of donations received a week, $1,000 of that bonus. And I feel like people like to give to things that other people. And so seeing that happen so quickly, having publicity around it really helps a lot. And you are responsible for it. So thank you so very much. I hope that me coming here today, for those who didn't know exactly what we did, let you know what it was that you were. I'm so excited to look at these numbers and I know that while on the one hand you are supporting the Kalispell Education Foundation when you give a gift, that's really what you're supporting. Asking for funds. Thank you for this. We know that it's not the best time, I've been told, live in the valley, find a job or look for teachers. And so in our small part, to try to help, not as any sort of incentive, because they wouldn't, but something to welcome teachers into school, incoming new teachers, this year, which knowing how, and how sometimes starting teachers. And we also, what I also not asked teachers last year to spend out here, and it's not small. It looks like it's about between, and so $100 doesn't really 100% touch that, but we hope. And we did find that, that there are some teachers in our district who spend over $800-900. Really depends on, what class they're teaching and grade they're teaching. I've looked into national numbers as well, and perhaps you're with that. It does seem to vary, and actually it looks like national is more out of pocket than which I think speaks. Numbers that I look at nationally are $100 out of pocket. Certainly, when we think about these programs, our Great Opportunity Grant,
Thank you, Dorothy, and thank you to the Kalispell Education Foundation for partnering with the school district. I love these new programs. I remember when they started the grant program.
you received one.
I did, yes.
I was just going through our historical data, and there you were.
Yeah, I know. Don't tell them what year that was, but. But, yeah, I think the foundation is doing some wonderful things, and thank you to the trustees who donated, who were part of this partnership. I think that speaks volumes, that we did, much better than last year.
So much
So,
better.
yeah.
Oh, before I forget, I was actually approached, clearly someone felt that the school board, class was new fresh blood. Someone else, not in this room, approached me in that class. And it's just occurred to me right now that it would be great for my board to attend, to learn a little bit for those on my board who aren't already, educators or administrators, to have the opportunity to really learn what so writing that down too. Keep this in mind, because I know a couple of.
Good idea, good thought. Jack?
A couple of questions. The first one is the last topic you brought up, and that is, what kind of things are teachers spending money on in the classroom, and whether the answer comes from you or from some of our administrators. But can you give us examples of what kind of, the variety of things that teachers will spend money on for the classroom out of their own pocket?
We didn't really dig into that. We were trying to get the most response. So anecdotally, when I talked to their money on, I think I mostly talk to people at elementary level. And
I have some better elementary information than middle school and high school information, but I'd say, in addition to that, it would be food and some clothing. And so there are, places in the community where you can get connected with all of that stuff, but sometimes there's extra hoops to jump through, so a lot of teachers just have extra food in their rooms, or if they see a kid that needs boots or, shoes, or whatever, they just
mean, at least up through middle.
Thank you. My next question has to do with the Kalispell Education Foundation promoting Kalispell schools. And thinking of what we've done in the past with Mike Kofer when he did a book talking about prior graduates over the 50-year period of time and trying to promote all that and having attempts to organize alumni to see what they can do, and then the funding that you're having here. How can all that be integrated without violating privacy laws for the students and assisting all of that going forward? And not that it's resurrecting things that we did in the past with the way we did it, but there's good ideas that have come out to promote public schools. I'm just wondering what kind of, what's the strategy going forward if there is any?
So that's actually the focus here is to build on currently or previously support, and also ways to connect our many community members. That's something I'll be.
Is there anything that we can do to supplement that like we've done in the past with certain things?
I think there's potential. You know, Dorothy and I meet monthly, and we started the conversation around alumni associations and different things as a means to promote schools and what's good in Kalispell Public Schools. And there is actually an alumni association page on Flathead's website, not one member. There was a brochure that was created, you know, so some of the challenge with that is the sustainability, right? So you come up with a great idea, like, oh, this is gonna be great. Well, who's gonna continue to manage and support and promote and do the work that has to go into making those kind of things successful? And so my caution with Dorothy and her responsibilities with the foundation would be that, you know, we need to be thoughtful in how we're going to support and promote and do that kind of work, because it's good and it's always interesting. And, you know, we've had, you know, alumni profiles and done even short videos and when we've done levy promotions and different things like that. But it takes a concerted effort. And so it's a big lift long term.
Well, Mike's project was a big project too, and it got out, but I don't know how far it got out.
Yeah.
And that the profiles that were done were very, very good profiles, but it's almost like they unfortunately got shelved, not purposefully by any means, but it's just when you try to go and distribute it, what's the mechanism for distributing it? And how do you continue that distribution of it, like what you're indicating, the maintenance of it? And how do you even add to that over time?
So, one thing that I am really trying taking this. And I think if we're going to do it, if you think about a college organization, department, and so I think there are organizations out there who can provide foundational, and we may decide to go. My background is been, who I think currently charges Flathead a lot. And it's understandable why there are no. So in terms of, from Kalispell, very comfortable with that so far, and, moving forward on how we start data to district, and I'm having to part-time position.
I guess my last question is, were those profiles ever put into a digital form? I know it was put into a physical booklet. I didn't know if it was put into digital form.
Nothing that I have in my files or have seen in any files that were bequeathed to me.
Or nor have I. I know of the physical. Yes, we're.
Thank you.
And Dorothy, I know, I think I'm speaking for the rest of the trustees in saying that we really enjoy when we get to see the grants that have, happened, and we get to meet those students and the teachers. I think usually in the spring, we see them at our meetings, and that is just, I just love seeing the end result to these things. So thank you for sharing all that with us. Any other questions?
Actually, some were brought up by him. I did have my own question, but, the Alumni Associations, besides being the officiant, are actually through a member, of each graduating class, not through the administration per se, but, among the homecoming things, I saw the, University of Montana's homecoming parade, and they seem to do a homecoming event for alumni, including, there was an alumni band that got together that marched in the parade, there was an alumni football game for the, each sport had their own, each activity had their own, let's get together as alumni, and that seemed more effective than, you went to the school. My question is actually about the teacher appreciation thing. Does the teachers themselves who earned this, did they have to have, I was surprised when the statewide teacher appreciation, I thought, ooh, I write a secret letter, and they just find out, and they're like, no, after you write the letter, then they have to, fill out 3 pages of forms. I was like, oh, rather than give them a treat, I gave them a burden. Do they have to do something to do it, or is it just a student nominates them, there is nomination forms, and the teacher gets surprised with it?
So truly, I'm going to rely on you, board representatives.
Oh, okay, then
We really haven't decided anything at all, but that's definitely.
Sorry, I missed it, you weren't there yet, sorry.
Thank you, Dorothy. Okay, next up is public comment again. I see no other public comment unless Lynn has another comment. Upcoming meetings, please take a look at all the committee meetings and where they are for this month. Our next board meeting is October 11th. And this is, I think, a record.
I move we
I was
adjourn.
returned.
It's been moved and seconded by 8 people.
Andrea's gotta have 2.
So, Jack and Rebecca. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned at 7:06.